Hello students, today I am going to start class 10th third chapter, that is metals and non-metals. In this chapter we already completed one session. In that session we discuss some basic properties of metals and non-metals on the basis of their physical characteristics. So in this class I am going to discuss the chemical properties of the metals and non-metals, how the metals react with the oxygen, acids, bases, oxides and non-metals. Okay, so today we will learn about the non-metals, metals and non-metals, physical properties of metals and non-metals, definition of metals, definition of non-metals and physical properties of metals and non-metals. So this one we already discussed in the first class. And next one, chemical properties of metals and non-metals and some uses of metals and non-metals. So start with a activity. Here one activity is given. Name the material on the basis of appearance and hardness. Some of the examples are given, some objects are given. First one is iron nail, second one coal, third one sulfur and fourth one is copper. So on the basis of their appearance and on the basis of their hardness, you have to identify whether the substances are metals or non-metals. Let's see the first one. Iron nail is shiny in the appearance and it is very hard in nature. Next one is second one is coal piece. Coal piece is dull in appearance and it is not very hard as were compared with the iron nail. And third one is the aluminium wire. When we are observing the aluminium wire, it look like very shiny and it's hard in the nature. And the fourth one is copper utensils. So all the copper substances are shining in surface or shining in the appearances and they are also hard in nature. Okay, so the next concept is the physical properties of metals. These were already discussed in the first session. So just see the physical properties of metal. The first one is metals are solid in nature. Metals are, most of the metals what we are having in the alkali and alkali earth metals, all the metals are solid in nature except mercury. Mercury is liquid in room temperature. And second one is metals are hard. Metals are hard in nature. Expect we are having two type of the metals. So lithium, potassium and sodium. These two metals, both sodium and potassium, we can easily cut with the help of the knife. So the three metals like lithium, potassium and sodium are soft in nature and remaining all the metals are hard in nature. And next one, metals have metallic luster. Metallic luster means they appears shiny in nature. The surfaces of the metals are shine in the nature. And next one, metals are malleable. It means when we beaten into, or it can be converted into a thin sheets. When we beat the metals and it can be converted into thin sheets. So these kind of the properties we call it as a malleable. And next one, metals are ductile. Ductile means we can convert the metals into thin wires. So we can draw into wires. Metals have high melting point. Metals, most of the metals, if they are rigid in nature, means their melting point and boiling point are obviously more. But we are having two more exceptions here, gallium and cesium. Gallium and cesium have very low melting points. They melt in the form of the hands. And next one, metals have high boiling points. Metals are good conductors of heat. Metals are good conductors of heat. So best conductors are silver and copper. Poor conductors are lead and mercury. So poor and best conductors are silver and copper, and bad conductors are lead and mercury. And the next one, metals are good conductors of electricity also. So the good conductors of electricity are silver and copper. And the last physical property of metal is metals are sonorous. Sonorous means they produce sound when beaten. So these are the some of the properties, physical properties of metals. We will see the some physical properties of non-metals also. We already discussed these things in the last session. So see the first physical property of non-metals. Non-metals may be solid, liquid or gaseous. Non-metals may be solid, liquid or gaseous. Solids are carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, etc. And liquids, examples for liquids is bromine, and gases are, we are having some non-metals in the gaseous form also, like oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, etc. So these are the some non-metals which is available in the gaseous forms. And the second property is non-metals are non-metals are soft in nature. So we are having one more exception here, diamond, which is the hardest substance in the nature. Diamond is a one type of the carbon allotrope. We are having three type of the carbon allotropes. First one is diamond, second one is a diamond, second one is graphite, and third one is a Buckminster Fullerene. So these are the some of the allotropes of carbon. So metals are soft in, non-metals are soft in nature, and metals are hard in nature. We are having one exception here, diamond, which is the hardest non-metal or and hardest substance in the nature. And next one, non-metals do not have any luster. We are having one more exception here, that is iodine is a iodine crystals. Iodine crystals are lustrous. It shows the lustrous property. Non-metals are non-malleable, and non-metals are not ductile. It means we cannot be convert the non-metals into sheets, or we cannot be convert the non-metals as a thin wires also. So they do not shows the property of malleable and ductile. And next one, non-metals which are solid, liquid, have low melting point. So non-metals which is available in solid and liquids, they have low melting points, and non-metals which are solid and liquid have low melting point. So the same point is repeated here. And non-metals are bad conductors of heat. Non-metals are bad conductors of electricity also. Even we are having one more exception here, graphite is a one type of the carbon allotrope. So this graphite is a good conductor of electricity. Graphite is a good conductor of electricity. That's why we are using the graphites in the batteries and shells also. Even it is non-metal, it conducts the electricity. It allows the electric current. Okay. And next one, non-metals are not sonorous. So these are the some physical properties of non-metals. Okay, now see the chemical properties of non-metals. Chemical properties of non-metals. The first one, chemical properties of non-metals. What we are going to study here, when metals react with the oxides, when metals reacts with the oxides, we are having one important concept in that, that is amphoteric oxides, and how the metals will react with the water, how the metals will react with the water. Okay, the first one is chemical properties of metals. Metals are very reactive. Metals tends to lose electrons easily and form positively charged ions. Metals are very reactive. Metals tends to lose electrons easily and form electropositive charged ions. And these electropositive charged ions, we call it as a cations. Cations. Positively charged ions are called as a cations, and negatively charged ions are called as a anions. Therefore, metals are called as electropositive elements. Sodium metal forms sodium ion, for example Na plus, and the valency, it indicates the valency of the sodium. Na plus 1 means in the outermost valency we are having one electron, one free electron. When we are writing the electronic configuration of sodium, its atomic number is 11. When we are representing their electronic configuration in the form of KLm, so in the outermost we are having one electron, and the outermost electron we are going to be considered as a valency of that particular element, whether it may be sodium or magnesium or aluminum or iron, whatever it may be. In the outermost cell, the number of vacant electrons, or the number of existing electrons in the outermost cell, we are considering as a valency of that particular element. And magnesium forms positively charged magnesium ion with a M2. In the last class, in 9th standard, already learnt about the valencies. Okay, and aluminum forms aluminum ions. The valency of aluminum is 3. So that is monovalent, divalent and trivalent. Okay, on the basis of their valencies number, we are classifying the monovalent, divalent, trivalent. Okay, and next one, the electropositive nature allows metals to form compounds with the other elements easily. Okay, what happens when metals react with the oxygen? Almost all metals react with the oxygen to form a metal oxides. When metals react with the oxygen, it forms a metal oxides. Here, this is the general form equation of the metals and oxygen, reaction between the metals and oxygen. Whenever the metal, most of the metal oxides, when it reacts with the oxygen, it forms a metal oxides only. For example, when copper reacts with the oxygen, it forms a copper oxide. When aluminium reacts with the oxygen, it forms a aluminium oxide. So most of the metals, when it reacts with the oxygen, it forms a metal oxides. Okay, see the next one, metals from aluminium to copper in the activity series. Later we will discuss about the activity series. Metals from aluminium to copper in the activity series of metals react slowly when heated in the air to form a metal oxides. Aluminium is the fastest and copper is the slowest of them. So aluminium is rapidly reacts with the oxygen and copper reacts slowly. Sodium metals react with the oxygen of the air. Sodium metals react with the oxygen. This is very important. Sodium metals react with the oxygen of air at room temperature to form a sodium oxide. Hence, sodium is stored under kerosene to prevent its reaction with the oxygen or moisture or carbon dioxide. Because as we already know that the atmospheric air itself consisting different type of the gases and different type of the elements also, like helium gas, are nitrogen, oxygen, moisture content, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. uh, so when the sodium is allowed to free with the air, it catches the moisture content which is present in the atmosphere and it start burning. Next one, magnesium does not react with the oxygen at room temperature. On heating, magnesium burns in the air with intense light and heat form. So when magnesium burns or magnesium strip is burned in presence of air, it shows the dazzling white flame. It shows the dazzling white flame. Okay, and next one, zinc metal. Zinc metal burns in air only on strong heating and to form a metal oxides. And next one is a iron metal does not burn in dry air even on strong heating. In moist air, iron is oxidized to give a rust. Gold and platinum do not react with the oxygen in air. Iron metal does not react in dry air, but iron filings are rapidly catches the fire. So two metals like gold and platinum do not react with the oxygen. Okay, amphoteric oxides. What do you mean by amphoteric oxides? As we have, metal oxides are basic in nature. Metal oxides are basic in nature, but some metal oxide shows both acidic as well as basic behavior, like aluminum oxides and zinc oxides. So these two oxides show both acidic as well as basic behavior. Such metal oxides which reacts with both acids and bases as well as bases to produce a salt and water are known as amphoteric oxides. So what do you mean by amphoteric oxides? When base metal oxides react with a, whether it may be react with the acids or bases, if it produces a salt and water, so these type of the oxides are called as amphoteric oxides. So amphoteric oxides are nothing but the oxides of metals. They are having the ability to react with the both acids and bases also. So metal oxides which reacts with a both acid as well as a basic behavior to produce a salt and water are called as amphoteric oxides. So examples for amphoteric oxides are aluminum oxides and zinc oxides. So when aluminum react with here one example is there, aluminum oxide, it is reacting with the HCl. So HCl is nothing but a acid. When it reacts with the acid, it form a aluminum chloride along with the water. So when metal oxides react with the acid or base, it always forms a salt and water as a two major compounds. Okay, here in the first example, aluminum oxide reacting with the HCl. HCl, it is nothing but a acid. So when it reacts with the acid, it forms a aluminum chloride as a salt and water as a one of the compound. And next one, when the same aluminum oxide react with the sodium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide is here base. Sodium hydroxide is base. When it reacts with the metal oxide, it also form the salt and water. So salt is sodium aluminate, and the chemical formula of sodium aluminate is NaAlO3 along with the water. So amphoteric oxides means these are the metal oxides. They have the ability to react with the acid as well as base. When they react with acid and base, it forms a salt and water. So these components are called as a amphoteric oxides. See the next one. Some more information is about the reaction of metals with the oxygen. Metals form their oxides when react with the oxygen. So we already discussed this one. Whenever the metal is react with the oxygen, it forms a metal oxides. Metal oxides are basic in nature. Metal oxides are basic in nature. So example is given here. Reaction of iron metal with the oxygen. What happens when iron reacts with the oxygen? It forms a ferric oxide. When iron reacts with a moist air, it forms rust. Rust is a iron oxide. So articles made of iron such as grills, fencings, etc. are get rusted because of reaction with the moist air. Rust is a reddish brown in color and is iron oxide. Iron oxide is basic in nature. Iron oxides are basic in nature. It turns the litmus paper from red to blue color. Okay, see here. When magnesium, reaction of the magnesium metal with the oxygen. What happens when magnesium burns in presence of oxygen? When magnesium is burnt in air, when magnesium is burnt in presence of air, it forms magnesium oxide. Burning in the air means reaction with the oxygen, because air itself is consisting of oxygen as one of the major component. Magnesium oxide forms magnesium hydroxide with the water. When we dissolving magnesium oxide in water, we will get a magnesium hydroxide. Solution of magnesium oxide turns red litmus paper to blue. This means magnesium oxide is basic in nature. So most of the metal oxides are basic in nature. Here some more information is given about the reaction of oxygen. See here, metals react with the oxygen to form a metal oxides. When copper is heated, it combines with the oxygen to form a copper oxide. Here reaction is given. When copper is combined with the oxygen, it form a copper oxide. When aluminum is heated, it combine with the oxygen to form a aluminum oxide. So reaction is, when aluminum is react with the oxygen, or when aluminum is heated in presence of oxygen, it forms a aluminum oxide. Some metal oxides are basic oxides because they react with the water to form a bases. For example, when sodium react with the oxygen, or sodium allow to free with the atmosphere, it gives the product as a sodium oxide. Sodium oxide is a one type of the basis. And when sodium oxide is dissolved in water, we get a sodium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide, it is also nothing but a basis. We already learnt in the chapter acid and bases, when metal oxides are dissolved in water, we get a basis also. So this is also the same example. And one more example is given here. When potassium is burned in presence of oxygen, it gives a potassium oxide, and that potassium oxide is dissolved in water, it gives a potassium hydroxide. Here potassium hydroxide is also nothing but a base. Some metal oxide shows acidic and basic properties. They are called amphoteric oxides. For example, aluminum oxide and zinc oxides are the best examples for amphoteric oxides. The reactivity of different metals with the oxygen is different. So some metals are rapidly burned in presence of oxygen, some metals will take some more time to burn itself, and some metals like gold, lead, these metals will not easily burn in presence of oxygen. So see here, metals like potassium and sodium react Metals like potassium and sodium react vigorously with the oxygen and catches fire if it keeps open. Hence they are stored in kerosene to prevent the burning. So two compounds or two elements like two metals like sodium and potassium are highly having the capacity to react with the oxygen. Once we are keeping freely in presence of oxygen or in presence of atmosphere, they will easily catches the moisture content which is present in the atmosphere, and it shows the fire also. If magnesium is heated in burns if magnesium is heated, it burns with a bright flame. If iron is heated, it glows brightly. If copper is heated, it does not burns but forms a black coating of copper oxides. That copper oxides is in the form of black color. And silver and gold does not react with the oxygen even at high temperature. Some metals like magnesium, aluminum, zinc, lead, etc. forms a oxides layers over it, which prevents further oxidation. They are called as self-protecting metals. So what happens when the same metals react with the water? So when the metals react with the water, it produces a metal oxides. When metals react with the water, it produces a metal oxides along with a hydrogen gas. When these metal oxides are again dissolved in water, it forms a metal hydroxides. Okay, so metal reacts with the water and produce a metal oxides and hydrogen gas. Metal oxides that are soluble in water dissolve in it to form further metal hydroxides, but all metals do not react with the water to form a metal oxides. We are having only few metals, they are reacting with the water like potassium or calcium or aluminum. Some of the metals which do not react with the water also, like copper, silver, gold, lead, these metals do not react with the water. If they do not react with the water means they do not form any kind of the metal oxides also. And some metals like potassium and sodium reacts violently with the cold water. In case of sodium and potassium, the reaction is violent and it is highly exothermic. It means it releases the heat also. Okay, see here the general form of the reaction between the metals and water. How the metals will be reacting with the water. When metals react with the water, it forms a metal oxides along with the hydrogen gas. And these metal oxides, when we are dissolving in water, it forms a metal hydroxides. For example, sodium. Sodium reacts with the water, it forms a sodium hydroxide along with the hydrogen gas. Next one, when potassium reacts with the water, it also produces potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas along with the heat energy. Both sodium and potassium will releases potassium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide along with the hydrogen gas and heat energy. energy. So these are the three main components of the reactions. Next one, see some more examples are given for the reaction of metals and water. Metals like potassium and sodium react violently with a cold water. In case of sodium and potassium, the reaction is also violent and exothermic, that evolved hydrogen immediately catches the fire. Here, potassium is a highly reactive element. Potassium is the most reactive element in the reactivity series of the elements. So when potassium reacts with the water, it forms a potassium hydroxide along with the hydrogen gas, and it releases the energy also. Similarly, when sodium reacts with the water, it also forms a sodium hydroxide along with the hydrogen gas, and it also releases the heat. If it releases the heat, means this is the best example for exothermic reaction. In the exothermic reaction, the heat will be get released, and in the endothermic reaction, the heat will be absorbed. Next one is the reaction of the calcium with the water is less violent. The reaction of calcium with the water is a less violent. The heat evolved is not sufficient for the hydrogen to catch the fire. So what happens when calcium react with the water? It also forms a calcium hydroxide along with the hydrogen gas. Calcium start floating because the bubbles of the hydrogen gas formed stick to the surface of the metal. Okay, some more information is given here. Magnesium do not react with the cold water. Some metals like magnesium, it is also one type of the metal. It do not react with the cold water. It react with the hot water to form a magnesium hydroxide. It means magnesium will not react with the metals like potassium and sodium react in presence of cold water, but magnesium, it do not react with the cold water. It always react in presence of the hot water only. So magnesium hydroxide is formed along with the hydrogen when magnesium metal is react with the hot water. It also start floating due to bubbles of hydrogen gas sticking to its surface. And some more metals like aluminum, iron, zinc do not react either with the cold water or hot water, but they are reacting with the steam to form a metal oxides and hydroxides, metal oxides along with the hydrogen gas. So some metals like aluminum, iron, zinc, they do not react with the cold water as well as hot water, but it will be reacts only in presence of steam. When we allow the steam, these metals will shows the oxides, like aluminum will show aluminum oxide, iron will shows the ferric oxide, and zinc will shows the zinc oxide. Okay, only in presence of the steams. See here, equation is given. When aluminum reacts with the water, aluminum, it means it's a steam. When aluminum reacts with the water, it forms a aluminum oxide. Similarly, when iron reacts with the water, it forms a ferric oxides. Metals such like a lead, tin, copper, silver, gold do not react with the water at all. It means these metals, copper, tin, lead, silver, gold, they do not react with the hot water or cold water. Even in presence of steam also they do not react. The reaction between iron and steam is irreversible also. Okay, some more information is given here about the reaction of metals and water. Metals react with the water to form a metal oxides and metal hydroxides along with the hydrogen. So these are the reactions with the some metals like sodium, potassium, calcium, aluminum and iron. When they are reacting with the water, they form a metal oxides and metal hydroxides also, metal oxides and metal hydroxide also, along with the hydrogen gas. So the reactivity of different metals with a different water level, it means the metals react with the water in different forms. Sodium and potassium, these things we already discussed. Sodium and potassium react violently with the cold water. Sodium and potassium react violently with the cold water to form a sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, and it catches the fire also. Calcium react less violent with the water to form calcium hydroxide and water and do not catches the fire. Magnesium reacts only with the hot water to form a magnesium hydroxide along with the hydrogen. Metals like aluminium, iron, zinc reacts only in presence of the steam, and they form a metal oxides along with the hydrogen. Some of the metals like lead, copper, silver, gold, they do not react with the water. They do not react with the water. Okay, see the next step of the reaction, chemical properties. The chemical properties of the metals with the acids. How the metals react with the acids and how the metals react with the salt solutions and reactivity series. Okay, see here what happens when metal reacts with the acids. When metals react with the dilute acids, it forms a salt and hydrogen gas. So metals react with the acids to form a salt and hydrogen gas, and this is the general form of the equation. And the general form of the equation is whenever the metals react with the diluted acids, it forms a salt and hydrogen gas. For example, when copper react with the diluted HCl, it forms a copper chloride along with the hydrogen gas. Similarly, when magnesium react with the HCl, it also form a magnesium chloride along with the HCl. When aluminium reacts with the HCl, it also form a aluminium chloride along with the hydrogen gas. When one more metal like iron reacts with the HCl, it also form a ferric chloride along with the hydrogen gas. Potassium, sodium, lithium and calcium react with violently with the diluted H2SO4 and diluted HCl also, forming the metal salts, corresponding metal salts. When these metals react with the acids, diluted acids, whether the acid it may be H2SO4 or sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid, it always forms a salt and hydrogen gas. The metals like potassium, sodium, lithium, calcium, iron, aluminum, zinc, all these metals, when it reacts with the acid, it forms a salts, corresponding salts and hydrogen gas. Either the sulfates or chloride. It means when zinc react with whatever it may be, whether it may be zinc or aluminum, if the metals react with the HCl, it forms a chloride. When it reacts with the HCl, it forms a chlorides. When it reacts with the hydrochloric acid, it means sulfuric acids, H2SO4. H2SO4, it forms a metal sulfates along with the hydrogen gas. The reaction is similar to the reaction with the water. Magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, tin and lead react safely with a diluted acid. Magnesium is the fastest and lead is the slowest element reacting with the acids. So we are having the reactivity series. On the basis of reactivity series, magnesium is the highly reactive with the acid, and lead or iron is a less reactive metal. These two metals like sodium and potassium are violently reacting with the acids. Okay, next one, hydrogen is not evolved when metal react with a nitric acid. When the metals react with H2SO4, it means sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid. It always forms a salt and hydrogen gas. When the same metals react with a nitric acid, HNO3, when it reacts with a HNO3 nitric acids, it do not evolve the hydrogen gas. It is because HNO3 is a strong oxidizing agent. It oxidizes the hydrogen, produces the water, and itself gets reduced to any of the nitrogen oxides like N2O. N2O means nitrous oxide. So that nitrous oxide is also called as a laughing gas or happy gas. N2O, the chemical formula of laughing gas is N2O. It's also called as a happy gas due to its toxicating effect inhaled. So N2O is a nitrous oxide. It is also called as a laughing gas or happy gas. And next one, NO is a nitric oxide. Nitric oxide or nitrogen monoxide. So it is purely colorless gas and it's good for health also. And next one is NO2. NO2. NO2 means nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide. But magnesium react with a very dilute nitric oxide, nitric acid to evolve hydrogen gas. Zinc react with a dilute sulfuric acid often used for laboratory preparations of hydrogen. So when the metals react with the hydrochloric oxides make a metal chlorides. When the metal reacts with the sulfuric acid, it forms a metal sulfates. Next, the same slide about the reaction about the metals and acids. Metals react with the dilute acids to form a salts and hydrogen. So these are the some of the reactions. When magnesium reacts with the HCl, it forms a magnesium chloride. When aluminum reacts with the HCl, it forms aluminum chloride. When same zinc reacts with the same acid, that is HCl, it forms a zinc chloride. Iron reacts with the HCl, it forms a ferric chloride along with the hydrogen gas. The reactivity varies from the metals to metal for the above metals, and the decreasing order of the reactivity is magnesium is highly reactive than the aluminum is highly reactive than the zinc, and zinc is highly reactive than iron. Copper, silver, gold do not react with the diluted HCl. Hydrogen gas is not evolved when metals react with the nitric acids because it is a strong oxidizing agent and it oxides the hydrogen produced to form water and itself reduced to oxides of the nitrogen. Oxides of the nitrogen means the three forms are nitrous oxide, nitric oxide and nitrogen dioxides. Yes, some more information about the same type of the reaction of zinc with a diluted acid. When magnesium and zinc, whether it may be magnesium or zinc, react with the HCl, it forms a magnesium chloride. Zinc gives hydrogen gas along with a zinc chloride. It reacts with the hydrochloric acid. Similarly, zinc gives the hydrogen gas along with the zinc sulfate when it reacts with the sulfuric acid. So this method used to produce hydrogen gas in the laboratory. Next one, reaction of aluminum with a diluted acid. When aluminum react with a diluted HCl, it also form a aluminum chloride along with the hydrogen gas. Aluminum gives the hydrogen gas along with the aluminum chloride when it reacts with the diluted hydrochloric acid. The next type of the reaction is metals with the salt solutions. What happens when metals react with the salt solutions? When metal reacts with the metal salts, in that the high reactive element or high reactive metal displaces the less reactive metal. So this is the best example for displacement reaction. Let's see what happens. A reactive metal can displaces the less reactive metal to form their compound in solution or in the molten form. So for example, if metal A and salt solution of B, if metal A is a high reactive, more reactive than the solution or salt solution of the metal B, it displaces the B and A will form a salt of that compound. So salt solution of A along with a metal B will be get separated from its metal salt. For example, when potassium reacts with a magnesium sulfate, potassium react with a magnesium sulfate, it forms a potassium sulfate and magnesium will get separate. It means here potassium is, as we already know that potassium is a highly reactive element, so it displaces the position of magnesium and it forms a potassium sulfate and magnesium will get separates. Here potassium is a more reactive than magnesium and it displaces the magnesium from its salt solution, magnesium sulfate. So it is simple and easy that if metal A displaces metal B from its solution, it is more reactive than B. Here a more reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal. More reactive metal displaces the less reactive metal to form its salt solution, displacement reaction. So this is the best example for the displacement reaction. Displacement reaction we already learnt in the first chapter. In the first chapter we already discussed about the displacement reaction. In that displacement reaction, the highly reactive element will displaces the less reactive element. So magnesium displaces copper from the copper sulfate solution. Magnesium, when magnesium react with the copper sulfate solution, it forms a magnesium sulfate along with the copper. It means here magnesium is highly reactive than the copper, and zinc displaces copper from copper sulfate solution. Zinc is highly reactive than the copper, so it displaces and it forms a zinc sulfate along with the copper will get separated. And next one, iron displaces copper from copper sulfate solution. Here iron is a more reactive than copper, so it displaces from the copper sulfate solution and it forms a iron sulfate along with the copper. Here we are having one activity, magnesium powder. Take a two test tubes. In that test tubes, so magnesium powder is dissolved in the first test tube of blue copper sulfate solution, and one more test tube is having colorless magnesium sulfate solution. In that, place some of the copper. So after 15 to 20 minutes, place some of the coppers and some of the iron nails. So after 15 to 20 minutes, blue copper sulfate solution turns and the color of the iron nail coated with a brownish color, so that indicates the iron will be converted as a ferric sulfate or iron sulfate. Okay, let's see the next concept of your chapter, that is reactivity series of metals. We already know that reactivity series of the metals in first chapter also. The arranging of metals in the decreasing order of their reactivity is called as a reactivity series of their metals, and these metals are arranged in the decreasing order of their reactivity with the other oxides or other water or acids. How the metals will be react with the acids, water and air. On the basis of that, we are rearranging or we are arranging these metals in the decreasing order of their reactivity, and this type of the reactivity arrangement is called as a reactivity series of metals. In that, the most reactive metal is potassium, and next one is sodium, third one is calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, lead, hydrogen, copper, mercury, silver and gold. So most reactive elements, so these are the most reactive elements. Next one, least reactive elements. What we are observing, these metals are least reacting elements. See here, activity series. This is the activity series and related metallurgy of these elements. These metals are classified according to their reactivity and their origin. So 5 metals like potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium and aluminum are electrolysis. They are obtaining by the electrolysis and they are highly reactive. Zinc, iron, lead, copper are reduction using the carbons. And next one, gold and silvers. Silver and gold are found in native states. So we are having here some shortcut tricks to memorize the activity series of these metals. The first one is केदारनाथ का माली आलू जरा फीके pakata hai chap. It means from Kedar we have to take K, and next one N, Nath, from N we have to take N. N means sodium, calcium, magnesium. Mali, from Mali we have to take the first letter of each word to get the reactivity series metals. केदारनाथ का माली आलू जरा फीके पकाता है chap. So from each word, if we are taking the first letter of each word, we get the reactivity series of metals. We are having one more easiest trick to memorize the reactivity series of these elements. So the one more method is Katrina ne कार मांगी Alto, Zen, Ferrari. So these are the 3 costliest cars: Alto, Zen, Ferrari. फिर भी है क्यों मिली सिल्वर आडी. If you are taking the first letters of these words, we will get the reactivity series of metals. From Katrina, take K letter. Next, Katrina ne sodium. कार मांगी, from car means first 2 letters, calcium. Mangi, magnesium. Alto means aluminium. Zen means zinc. Ferrari means iron. Firbi means lead, that is Pb. And high means H, hydrogen. Q means copper. Milli means mercury, and silver means Ag, and Rd means Au is nothing but a gold. So this is the easiest way to memorize the reactivity series of the metals. One more trick is there here. Please stop calling me a careless zebra. Instead, try learning how to copper saves gold. Now observe these red color letters: potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, carbon, right? And next one: zinc, iron, tin, lead, hydrogen, copper, silver, and gold. So these two are the non-metals, carbon and hydrogens. So remaining all are existing in the reactivity series of metals. Okay, let's see the next concept, that is how do metals and non-metals react with each other. When metals are reacting with the non-metals, usually metals loses their electrons. Metals loses electrons and become positive ions, so they are called electropositive elements. Electropositive elements. For example, atomic number of sodium is 11 and its symbol is Na, right? So for considering the sodium element, the atomic number of sodium is 11, its electronic configuration is 281. Just count these numbers: 2 plus 8 plus 1 is 11. So electron configuration we are representing in the form of K, L, M, N shells, subshells also. Okay, so it has one valency electron. It loses one electron and form a sodium ion with a Na plus. If it loses one valency, means it form a sodium ion. Next one, see one more example here. Magnesium, the atomic number of magnesium is 12 and the electronic configuration of magnesium is 282. In the outermost orbit we are having 2 electrons and magnesium is the divalent. Okay, so metals are loses their electrons and non-metals will gain the electrons. Non-metals gain electrons and become negative ions, so they are called electronegative elements. Metals are electropositive elements and non-metals are electronegative elements, because metals are loses their electrons and non-metals are gaining the electrons. The atomic number of the chlorine is 17. Chlorine is a one type of the non-metal. Chlorine, bromine, iodine, fluorine, these are the some of the examples for non-metals. So in the 14th group in the 14th group of the modern periodic table, we are having the halogen elements or halogen atoms like chlorine, fluorine, iodine and bromine. So chlorine atomic number is 17, its electronic configuration is 287. It has 7 valencies. It gains 1 electron and form a chloride like Cl minus. And oxygen, the atomic number of oxygen is 8. When we are representing the electronic configuration, the atomic number of oxygen is 8 and when we are representing their electronic configuration 2 and 6, in the outermost we need 2 more electrons to get a octets level, it means stable. So oxygen is also divalent. Okay, next one, the formation of sodium chloride. So just see this one, what happens whenever the metal and non-metals are combined together with a strong electro-attractive force of, it forms a ionic bond. So when the metals combining with the non-metals known as the ionic compounds or electrovalent compounds. So here sodium is a metal and chlorine is the non-metal. What happens? Just see this one. The atomic number of sodium is 11 and its electron configuration is 281. In the outermost valency or in the outermost cell we are having one electron, therefore the valency of sodium is 1. And the chlorine, the atomic number of chlorine is 17. When we are representing it in the form of electronic configuration, it is 2, 8 and 7. 7, it needs one electron to get stable. The atomic number of sodium is 11. Its electronic configuration is 281. It has one valency electron. It loses one electron to form a Na plus ion. The atomic number of chlorine is 17. Its electronic configuration is 287. It has 7 valency electrons. It gains 1 electron to form a Cl chloride ion. When then the attraction between the sodium ion and chlorine ion result in the formation of sodium chloride molecule. So here easily you can understand, it loses the one electron and that losing electron will be going combined with the chlorine. It means one vacant is there in the place of chlorine, so that vacant place will be completely filled. Okay, so once it is completely filled means it forms a ionic compound. Ionic compound. Okay, let's see the next one, that is the formation of magnesium chloride molecule, MgCl2. The atomic number of magnesium is 12. The electronic configuration is 282 and it loses the two electrons. And the atomic number of chlorine is 17. When we are representing in the form of electronic configuration, its electronic configuration is 287. It needs one electron. It means it gains one electron. Okay, so here you are observing in the diagram magnesium having two electrons in the outermost orbit. Chlorine already discussed in the formation of sodium chloride. One chlorine will absorb one electron. Here two chlorines are there, so each chlorine will absorb or gains one electron from magnesium and it forms a magnesium chloride. Okay, and atomic number of magnesium is 12. Its electronic configuration is 282. It has two valency electrons. It loses two electrons to form magnesium ion. And atomic number of chlorine is 17. Its electronic configuration is 287. It has 7 valency electrons. It gains one electron of chlorine to form a chlorine. Then the attraction between the magnesium ion and chlorine ions, two chlorine ions, results formation of the magnesium chloride molecule. So these type we will form the sodium chloride and magnesium chloride. Let's see ionic compounds, electrovalent compounds. Ionic compounds are also called as a electrovalent compounds. Ionic compounds are compounds formed by the transfer of electrons from the metals to non-metals. Ionic compounds are the compounds formed by the transfer of electrons from metal to non-metals. It means all the metal will loses their electrons and all the non-metals will gaining the electrons. So these type of the transformation of the electrons between the metals and non-metals are called as a ionic compounds. See some properties of ionic compounds. They are formed by the transfer of electrons and are made up of ions. They are crystalline solids. They are crystalline solid in nature. They are high melting point and boiling point. They are soluble in water but insoluble in organic solvents like petrol and kerosene. So inorganic solvents, they will not be soluble. In presence of water they are easily soluble. They conduct electricity in molten state or in the solutions. So these are the some of the important properties of ionic compounds. So this is all about the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. In the next class we will discuss about the remaining concepts of your chapter. Till then, be happy, have a nice day, thank you.